Welcome everyone to the Matt and Matt show. I think we're Matt number 7 and Matt number 9 maybe at Papercut. There's a lot of Matts. We decided to coordinate our backgrounds today and put city maps and fake plants there just to make sure everything was aligned and in sync. Between us, Matt, we've got about 35 years of channel and OEM experience.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. I'm not that old, so you must have been doing this for quite some time.
Born into the industry and never leave, maybe. Today, we wanted to talk a little bit about benchmarks and best practices in the industry, and really some of the learnings that we've had from our years, that 35 years of experience, or we might even want to call it the school of hard knocks. But more importantly, also what we've learned from other people in the channel about what works.
There's basically 3 rules in any business. The first thing you want to do is acquire net new customers. Then with those customers, you want to sell more stuff to those same customers. How do you get a greater share of their wallet? And then perhaps mostly important of all, you want to keep the customers you have. All that sounds easy enough, but in a hyper-competitive and often commoditized market that we're in, it's often easier said than done.
I agree. And so we want to talk about some strategies that potentially going to allow you to increase your win rates by 2 to 3x, while at the same time increasing your revenue by up to 12% or more. But as important as increasing your revenue and increasing those win rates, we want to also talk about keeping those customers and ensuring that they're customers for life. Along with that, through the journey of a customer, what are some value adds that we can provide that customer to capture a larger share of the wallet and potentially look at some opportunities to sell them more services?
Matt, let's dive a little deeper into what it means to acquire new customers. We're talking about marketing, demand generation, sales funnels. That's what we're really talking about. But the best way to get more customers is to increase win rates. I talk to a lot of partners and their CRMs and how much is in the funnel. And in a hardware-led sale, oftentimes, if you've got a $100,000 quota, you got to put $1 million in the funnel. So that close rate of 10% is tough, right? And a lot of times when you're leading with hardware, you're leading with features and price, and it's a street fight. And really what we want to do is decommoditize the hardware sale, leaning into outcome-based selling, where we start leading with business impact rather than features and price. And that's going to increase our win rates. Talking to many of our partners that are in a solution-led sale, leading with Papercut, leading with these business outcomes, as Matt said, we're going to have win rates that are 2 to 3 times that of a hardware-only sale. So that same funnel that had $1 million in it, $200,000-300,000 or more out the other end is much more productive and much better for business.
Totally agree. And I think, just like any technology, over time, technology gets commoditized down to a lower price, a lower value to market. And we're seeing the same with software and hardware right now. The print industry particularly has had that challenge. And we've got a whole bunch of other challenges that we're all aware of, and we don't want to reiterate on talking over and over again. But also at the same time, some of those challenges are opportunities. And so we should start to think about what are some of the opportunities that we can look at in the channel, in our industry, to capture a larger share of the customers' wallets through some of those technology changes.
Yeah, I like what you said there. And it really also just gives you different entry points into the account. A lot of times if you're leading with features and price, you're leading into procurement or finance or the person that buys commodities. But if you're leading with solutions and business outcomes, you're moving up into the C-suite. You're moving into the chief sustainability officer and talking in environmental. You're talking to the chief security officer about how you can improve their security. Or you're talking to different line of businesses about how you can improve their business. And there's a lot of different outcomes along the way, a lot of different pain points that you can solve for customers. And that's really what we're talking about, is increasing those win rates by increasing the business outcomes that we're delivering for our customers. So the next thing is, perhaps most importantly, is keeping the customers we have. We work really, really hard to get that customer. Then we want to sell more stuff to those same customers, get a greater share of their wallet. But then we want to keep the customers we have. And again, when you're selling a commodity, it's pretty easy to buy another commodity cheaper. And so maybe those exit barriers are your contract, and maybe that's what keeps it sticky. But at the end of the contract, what keeps them? Hopefully you have the lowest price, or hopefully you have a great relationship, and sometimes we have both of those and everything lines up. But other times it's tough, and we're back to that street fight I talked about. But when you lead with solutions, when solutions are entangled into the box, when you're solving business problems, when software is running on the hardware, when software is integrated into the way that people work, and it's making printing simple, it's making scanning simple, it's making the IT department's job easy in how they manage the entire system, that's what drives stickiness. It's hard to untangle all of those things. We recently, for IDC, asked us, what's your customer retention? And so we went and did the math, and PaperCut has a 94% customer retention.
Wow.
And we're really proud of that number. That comes from having a great product and delivering great support. And it's because customers like the product, right? So bringing that customer retention best in class along with your company's excellent customer service, and we think keeping those existing customers is the most important thing.
I totally agree. I think, I touched on it already, but reiterating on finding the themes that your customers have, right? So what are the business challenges across the board that all your customers are facing right now, and how does print come into that? We all know about hybrid working's here to stay, right? So you heard throughout the summit about talk about what that means for print, and how do we get new ways of printing, whether that's at home, remote, coming into the office. How do we continue to provide features to these customers in this new way of working? And I think this is where continuous delivery comes in. And continuous delivery and proactive support can be one and the same. If you haven't heard that term before, continuous delivery basically allows us to provide updates and features to customers in real time without having to have technicians or people involved in updating software manually. The exciting thing is it's actually not just a cloud thing, it's across our whole portfolio in all of our products. So recently there have been some challenges around security, for example. We were able to patch security exploits and get those out to customers without them even having to do anything. But I think it goes further to your point there, Matt, is what's your point of differentiation in the market? And how do we get features to customers that excite them, but also you want them to be coming to you saying, hey, I've seen this new feature in PaperCut. I want to know more about that. I think my business needs that. Or it could be a new cloud destination that they were waiting for that we might not have had previously. You say, hey, Mr. Customer, PaperCut's now got scan to whatever cloud system you have. And by the way, it's already ready to go. So go in and actually turn it on right now. So I think that changes your conversation to be more of a consultative sale over time, and directly ties into what you were saying there, Matt, about customer retention. At the end of that contract, if you're part of their business process, you're having a very different conversation to which copier has the best speeds and feeds, or who's got the cheapest click rate.
Yeah. You mentioned change, and there's the quote that the only constant is change. And our industry is going through lots of changes, and every business is constantly evolving. Look at the evolution of MPS, or I call it MPS 1.0. Originally when we're talking about that, we're really just talking about, what are you printing and how much does it cost? And perhaps I can do it cheaper. And really, what we're looking at now is how do we move from MPS 1.0 to MPS 2.0, where we ask additional questions, not just what and how much, but why? Why are you printing? And can we help you do it more efficiently or maybe less? How are you managing printing, or how are you managing print servers or drivers? How are you provisioning services to your users? How are you enabling efficient business processes that are secure, simple, and integrated into your entire business? And most importantly, how do we just make it all work? How do we make it simple for all of your users, from the IT department that has to manage it to the end users that are just trying to accomplish a business process or a task? So that conversation on print management has moved from just tracking and find me printing, but with all of those changes with hybrid work and mobile and cloud and BYOD, scan workflows, and how do I scan to O365 or Google Drive or Dropbox, or line of business systems or document management systems, electronic content management, all of it's becoming a lot more complex, but the systems to manage it, like PaperCut, and pull it all together has become quite simple. This opens up opportunities for you to change the conversation, right? It's more about business processes than print. And how do we frame solutions that allow the customer to provide value beyond the box, right? And a lot of that's our consultative capabilities, the services we offer, and all powered by PaperCut and our products.
And I'd really love to get that MPS 2.0 conversation going with our resellers and our channel. You know, both of us would love to be in that conversation with anyone and help understand what their business challenges are, how we can add value there. And I think the exciting thing for me is, you know, coming from the channel and coming into PaperCut, we're embarking on this journey of cloud, but we've also got MF there, right? So it's a conversation about wherever you need this print management solution to be, or whatever you need this print management solution to be. So exactly what you talked about, it used to be about what's printing and why, right? Now we're going to talk about, well, how are you printing? What are you printing? Beyond that, what systems are you using? Where are you scanning to? How do your users need to print? And we can start to have conversations about what part of our portfolio fits best for that customer today, but also on the journey of their next agreement or their next 5-year journey of where they're going to as well. So that's pretty exciting for me. I love talking about this stuff. I love talking about the tech. I love talking about you know, the channel. I love talking about, you know, the constant change, and definitely it was an awesome conversation with you, Matt, today about, you know, how we see the channel going, but also how PaperCut is actually going to drive that change throughout the channel as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, Matt. And thank you so much for your time today. We hope this is valuable for all of our partners out there. We thank you for your partnership and look forward to hearing from you and learning from you and all the things that you're doing to change the conversation with your customers.
Thanks all.